Good morning. In this thesis, I have analyzed the origin and development of sign language, comparing the specific characteristics of Italian, American, British, and French sign languages. I have also highlighted the importance of recognizing sign language as a fully fledged language, rich in history, culture, and identity. First of all, it is important to emphasize that sign language has existed for centuries, but there is no universal one. According to Ethnologue, the international database of languages, there are hundreds of sign languages. In fact, every country in the world has its own. Furthermore, sign language is not simply a translation of spoken language. In fact, each sign language has its own grammatical structure, syntax, and unique signs. Some sign languages even have dialects. As previously mentioned, sign language has existed for centuries. The first information about the education of deaf individuals comes from Spain, where a Benedictine monk named Pedro Ponce de Leon taught three noble brothers how to read and write. In France, during the 18th century, the first educator was Abbot Charles Michel de Lepée, who founded the first school for the deaf in Paris. Additionally, thanks to the collaboration between Laurent Clerc, a teacher at this school, and Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet, an American scholar, was founded in 1826 the first school for the deaf in America. For this reason, the sign language spoken in the United States is more similar to French Sign Language than to British Sign Language. In Italy, Tommaso Silvestri founded the first school for the deaf in 1748 after studying for 6 months in France. Furthermore, in the history of sign language, it is essential to remember that despite the efforts made over the centuries by deaf communities to establish their culture and have their language recognized as a true language, they have always been subjected to pressure from society to conform and therefore learn the spoken language. Sign languages are visual languages made up of precise hand shapes and specific movements in the space around the signer. These languages help the deaf community express complex and abstract ideas, as well as various nuances of meaning. The parameters for forming a sign are called theorems, and they include the location of articulation, such as body parts and the space in front of the signer, the hand configuration, which refers to the shapes the fingers make, the orientation of the palm concerning the body, and the movement of the hand. Additionally, non-manual components are also fundamental, such as facial expressions, gaze, and the position of the torso and shoulders, all of which add context and meaning to gestural communication. Regarding the differences among the four sign languages analyzed, the first thing to note is that Italian Sign Language (LIS), American Sign Language (ASL), and French Sign Language (LSF) all use a one-handed manual alphabet, while British Sign Language (BSL) uses a two-handed manual alphabet. Other differences may relate to facial expressions. ASL makes more extensive use of facial expressions compared to BSL, that instead relies more on body movements and hand shapes to express emotions. In LIS, non-manual components are crucial for distinguish different types of sentences, including the difference between open and closed questions. In LSF, facial expressions are essential for differentiating words with similar manual signs and for adding nuances to the language. Finally, another difference concerns verbs. In LIS distinguishes three classes of verbs: those articulated on the signer's body, directional verbs that move in neutral space, and those with a single point of articulation in neutral space. ASL and BSL categorize verbs based on their directionality: non-directional, unidirectional, and multidirectional verbs. LSF includes directive verbs that indicate the direction of the action from one person to another. In addition to these, there are many other important differences, but this is just a brief summary. In conclusion, The aim of this thesis is to create awareness about sign languages and understand their importance within the deaf community. Thank you for your attention.